Alright y'all, so just pulled into the job site now. We're going to get the equipment unloaded, unchained, and then we'll be ready to go. Just so y'all can see where we're working today. It's a beautiful piece of property. Got a nice beautiful lake down there. We actually installed this fence for them. And then we've done a couple other little things out here, but it's just an absolutely gorgeous piece of property. And customer just wants it cleaned up a little bit. So over by those cedar pine trees over there, that little pine grove, there's some underbrush that they want cleared out so that they can actually use that area. And then the other part that we'll be clearing is just beyond there. And they have another little pond back in the back that they'll use to water their cows and horses with. And then the last spot is that old fence row, kind of just behind that big pond right there. Just cleaning it up from all the brush and junk that gets in the way. That way the horses don't get tangled up in there. They're getting ready to bring horses in here. And all that good stuff, so don't want any animals getting hurt, so we're just going to clear out that, get a better picture once we get down there. But for now we'll go ahead and get the equipment unbinded, unchained, and get it unloaded off the trailer. Larry and Connor will be here shortly, so we can all head down the hill and we'll get started on clearing all this brush for the customer. Hopefully it won't be too long of a day for us, but either way, it's a pretty fun job. We love doing what we do, but we'll get this unchained and get ready to go. unchained. Gonna get off the trailer here, and we'll hook up the brush cutter, and we'll be on our way for getting started. So we're down here. This is the first spot we're going to be clearing, just in through these trees. They got a nice roadway here that they used to get back to their back pastures, but all these pine trees, nice beautiful grove, they just want all this junk out of here. Just clean it up, make it look pretty. Same over there, just cleaning the brush up underneath. And then once we get that, we'll go over here where Connor's walking. In this place, just beautiful. Nice big pond, nice and peaceful. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous place. So here's our next spot. We'll be clearing as Connor's walking. There's an old fence row, but as you can see their house up there, they look out over this pond on their porch and they see this junk here, which is nothing good to look at. So we're going to clean up all this little brush in through here and maybe take down these trees. I don't know. We'll have to talk to him, but just cleaning out all this junk in through here, all the way down to that other big pine where Connor's at, and we'll clear all this up. That way they have a nice view of the pasture behind it from their porch up there at the top of the house over the nice pond. So we'll clear that up second. And then the third spot that we'll be doing is back over that ridge. They got a tiny pond back there that they use to water animals, and that way it's all cleaned up and the animals can get to it, because they haven't had animals here for a while, but they are soon bringing animals back, so they gotta have somewhere to get water. And instead of having to tractor in water, they're just going to use that pond they have back there. You can kind of see it straight back there. It's all grown up around it. So we're going to do some brush cutting back there, make sure the animals can get to it. And we'll get started here shortly.
So this spot in particular had a lot of large rock in it, so it's just a lot of in and out, back up, pull forward, maneuvering, making sure not to hit any of those to damage any of our equipment here. And it takes a little time, but you know, if you're thorough, then everything looks good, customer's happy, and then you didn't spend a bunch of money doing repairs when it could have been avoided. So that's what you'll see here, is just a lot of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that's, like I said, just to get around those large rocks. Maybe an old rock wall used to be along here, old farm fence made out of rock from long ago. But that's what's going on here. So if you see a lot of forward, back, that's what's going on here. here we're getting into the bigger stuff that we've done so far. It's about 2-3 inches in diameter, which this particular brush cutter will go up to 6 inch in diameter. You don't want to do a whole lot at 6 inch just because it's a lot of wear and tear, but if you have one or two, you know, in a row, it's not going to hurt it much. The bigger they are, you want to come in higher and come down on it, and you'll see me do that a few times in this video. But for this stuff, it's a little enough you can just drive right over it, and it goes really good. Then you can back drag over it and mulch it up really good. So you'll see those techniques used here soon. Alright, here we're finished with the first spot. We're going to head over to that second spot, the old fence row that we talked about earlier in the video, where they're looking out their back deck over the big pond through to the back pasture. Right now it's kind of blocked by that old fence row where it's all grown up with honeysuckle and grapevine and tiny trees. Did talk to the homeowner before we did this, obviously, about keeping the big trees. There's 4 or 5 large trees in here that they want to keep, so that's the reason we didn't take any of those out, as you'll see in this video. But this stuff's a little bigger, so you'll see a lot of that high technique. So starting high, coming down, that way it mulches it on the way down. You don't just run it over and you're left with a bunch of big stuff. That way it gets more mulched and will degrade quicker into the ground, and not have any risk of stuff coming back for a long time. And it gets you just a nice clean look, clean finish. So start high, come down on it, mulch it, and then do the back drag method to really chip it up and mulch it as we go. And you'll see a lot of those techniques used here, just because it's a little bigger. So starting here, you can kind of see around this first bigger tree that we're going to keep how it's going to look a little bit. This is about the lightest one that we have come in here in this old fence line in terms of how thick the brush is. It really gets thicker towards the end, towards that large pine tree, but you can kind of start to get a feel for how open the area is going to be just from what it looked like before. But there, you can really tell at the end as we continue to go down this old fence line here on how good it really opens up, and you know how neat it looks with doing the back drag method and really mulching it up so it just looks pretty. And it does help, like I said, with the actual functionality of it. It'll degrade quicker, but you can kind of start to get a feel for it. But hopefully you can, you know, really tell as we continue on down the line here. Just want to use this real quick bit here on a couple of techniques that you'll see and have already seen. And this is just, you know, operator to operator, it's going to change. And some people might tell you different, some people might agree with me, but this is just my preference doing these brush cutting jobs. Really anything that you're going to be having an attachment on that's going to use hydraulic hoses is that I try and lead with my right side on the machine if I'm going into a thicket, or go straight on with it up in the air. And that's simply to protect those hydraulic hoses on the left side there. You can kind of see on the left side by the handle on the outside of the door, that's where the hydraulic hoses come into the main hydraulic coupler of the actual machine. And the little amount of wear and tear on it that it's going to sustain already, like I said, we're big on trying to keep our equipment up and running, and as anybody knows that has any of this equipment, it's expensive to fix and expensive to maintain as it is. So if you're down having to do repairs, you're not up with the machine making money, and if you're not making money, you're losing money, and nobody's doing that. So that's just one technique I like to use. Another one you'll see that I did a couple minutes ago is that if you have a thicket up around a tree, you can take the front of your brush cutter and kind of swing it and grab it out of the ground so you can actually get to be able to mulch it. Just a couple of techniques. Like I said, each operator's different, has their quirks. This is just a couple of mine. here at the end, we're by the big pine tree at the very end of the fence row, and this is the thickest that it got here on this job in particular, and that's a lot because of the honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is an invasive species, for those of you that don't know. It's terrible for the ground, and it acts like a parasite. It grows near bigger, healthier trees, and it just uses their nutrients and steals their food and water to grow. And it's terrible for the ground. The root system is very shallow, and all it does is hurt any good trees that are around it. So that's another reason we're taking it out. That's a reason that a lot of people like to take that honeysuckle out, is it provides nothing good to your soil, your dirt, or the healthy trees around it that you're looking to keep. But you also have these vines that are tangled up in here, and that's why it's so thick. So really you have to use the method of start high, come down low, and make sure you just come back and mulch it at the end. So here you can get a good view all the way down of what it looks like all cleared, and keeping those 4 or 5 big trees that we kept for the customer to look at as requested. And now they have a clear view of sight from their back deck over the big pond through to the open pasture behind this old fence line. So it turned out really good. We were happy, customer was super happy with how it turned out and how it looked, and everything got mulched real thin, and will degrade in no time. You'll see, some of you may have noticed that I pushed a big group. That was just a group of trees that the customer asked if we would keep and not mulch, so he could cut it up into firewood to burn in his fire pit outside. But that's the reason we didn't mulch that. but hopefully y'all can get a good look here all the way down on how it looks all cleared compared to what it looked like in the beginning, where I couldn't see 3 feet beyond the brush cutter, and sometimes not even that much. So it turned out really good. Hopefully you all enjoyed watching this portion. We'll wrap up right here on the second spot. We'll head to the third spot, very small spot back behind that little pond that we talked about earlier in the video, and that'll be a wrap after that. Alright everybody, so we made it up here to the third and final spot for the day around this small pond. Excuse me. Larry and Connor have been up here doing some chainsaw work. There's a lot of dead trees around it. They were taking those out and piling them up so we can put them in a burn pile later on to burn. But I'm going to come in here with the machine and the brush cutter and just get to what we can. There are some spots where it's a decent drop off, or the ground's soft being that it's around a pond, so we'll reach what we can, and it's mainly just so the animals have some points of access to this pond. And we're actually doing another job coming up for this customer, hopefully, so once we have the excavator out here, or if we do have the excavator out here, we'll go ahead and clean up the rest around this pond. But for today we'll do what we can, and then we'll wrap up and get out for the day. y'all. So that pretty much does it. Got a couple more spots here as I'm talking that you'll see that I'm just wrapping up and hitting on the way out, but that pretty much does it, wraps it up for the day and for this job. Customer came out later on, looked at all of it, very happy with it, which that's what we strive for, is high quality work. That's what we go for, and that's really, you know, one of the reasons I started this company, is so that we can do the best work possible and the best of our ability, because I think a lot of companies now are money hungry, and you know, the quality kind of falls off. Now don't get me wrong, there's a lot of companies out there that do good work, but you know, it's just something that we hold real strong and true to our souls, is doing real good work. So that wraps it up for the day, and button up a couple things on the way out, and then we'll be loading up and heading out.
Alright, so we finished up the brush cutting, got it all done, looks really good. Now the customer's able to actually see and enjoy their view from their back porch, looking out into the back pasture where they're getting ready to put some horses back there. But got it all done, wrapped up for the day. All that's left is getting home, dropping the skid steer, brush cutter, and the trailer over at the equipment lot, and going home for the night. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this video. Hopefully the editing is getting better. I appreciate anybody who is, continues to watch the videos, even though my editing skills aren't too hard yet. But I'm getting there, I promise. Just bear with me if you can. But really, guys, really appreciate any love you can throw our way, whether it be like us on our YouTube channel, follow us and subscribe on our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, BME Outdoor Solutions LLC. Follow us on there to see all the projects that we got going on. Coming soon, there'll be a TikTok for all the people that are TikTokers. You can follow us on there. And I'll be starting something soon. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I'm actually starting a podcast, so I'll get you all the information on that one of the videos coming up once everything's set up and ready to go. But seriously appreciate the love. Anybody that has been with us through the journey. It's been a hard year, just getting started, and had some hurdles. Have some hurdles right now, but we're getting through them thanks to the big man upstairs.